Hi, everyone. Good evening. Where's Jesse Norman? That is so cool. Where are you, Jesse? Hi, Jesse. My table, when they heard you were here, they want to trade me for you. So maybe you'll consider spending some time at table 8 at some point. It's so nice to be here tonight. Good evening to everyone. You know, I frequently have the honor of speaking at a number of events involving very committed people who make up the cancer advocacy world, but tonight is particularly special for me, and I'm so grateful to have a role in this program tonight. And let me explain. As many of you know, my personal journey with cancer began when my husband, Jay, was 41 years old. It was 16 years ago. He was handsome and healthy, except for he was tired, but aren't we all tired all the time? After all, we had 2 little children. And then one day I got a call when I was at the Today Show, and in an instant, my life divided into 2 very distinct periods: BC, before cancer, and AC, after cancer. Jay at the time was doubled over in pain, and like so many men his age, he didn't have an internist, so I took him to mine. We discovered that he was obstructed with a tumor the size of an orange, and from there, the news only got worse. Following surgery, I was taken to a little room in the hospital and told that the cancer had spread to his liver and the situation was bleak. Bleak, which I think has got to be one of the very worst words in the English language. I think until you experience it, until you've been here, it's impossible to understand the life-shattering ripple effect a cancer diagnosis has, not just on the patient himself or herself, but on the entire family. Our daughters were 1 and 5 at the time, so how do you explain to children that age that their father may be terminally ill? I read a lot of books, I talked to doctors, I went anywhere I could to get the answer, but I really didn't have anywhere to turn. No one seems to know how you handle such a gut-wrenching task. Ellie began first grade 6 months after her dad's diagnosis, and the glimmer of hope I was praying for got dimmer every day. When Ellie would ask me about her father, I never assured her that he was going to be okay, that everything was going to be all right. After all, that's what the experts told me. But I simply told her that the doctors were doing everything they could do to make Jay better. I don't think I realized before then how full of anxiety even a child at the age of 6 could be. So I didn't really know how to handle it, and I wanted her to get through this crisis, at such a young age, as healthy and whole as possible. So I had read about Cancer Care, and I reached out. The counselor with whom I spoke suggested an exercise for Ellie's class called the Worry Jar. The girls all sat in a circle, and each child who wanted to put in a coin, a pebble, or other little trinket in the jar did, and then got a minute to talk about what was worrying her. Ellie, of course, spoke about her father, but it turned out there were a lot of worried little 6-year-olds, first graders in that room. It was so simple, but it made such a difference for us. Just that hour sitting on the floor talking about what they were worried about. As a result, I think Ellie felt so much less alone. And Donna Friel, Ellie's teacher, later told me it was one of the most profound experiences in all her years as a teacher. So I can speak firsthand to what a godsend CancerCare's psychosocial and practical support is for families contending with the nightmare that is cancer. The girls and I certainly had a lot of healing to do in the months and years following Jay's death. In many ways, we still are. But I will forever appreciate what CancerCare and all the great people there did for our family. As Hillary Clinton famously said, it takes a village, and I know many, many people and organizations help CancerCare provide the services that they do on a daily basis. So I am here to return that favor of more than 16 years ago by presenting 2 awards tonight. The first one is the Partnership Award, and it goes to Bayer Healthcare. Well, if you're like me, when you hear Bayer, of course, you immediately think aspirin. One byproduct of being a journalist, though, is having a treasure trove of little-known factoids or perhaps useless information lodged in the recesses of my brain. So I'm not sure many people know this except perhaps some Bayer employees, but did you know that Bayer actually comes from willow bark extract? When you think of aspirin, you should think of that, but I digress. So who knew that for 150 years, Bayer has been delivering on its mission of science for a better life? Researchers and labs all across the country are developing treatments for diseases like cancer and MS, in addition to over-the-counter medications. Bayer is all about making people better, and that commitment extends to the many ways in which the company supports CancerCare's critical free services for patients, families, and caregivers affected by cancer. For example, thousands of people have participated in Bayer-supported educational workshops on specific cancer topics like colon, prostate, liver, or breast cancer. Bayer is also a proud funder of one of CancerCare's most sought-after publications, the financial edition of CancerCare's Helping Hand Guide, which enables so many families to find critical financial assistance following a cancer diagnosis. Bayer even directly engages the community through its involvement with CancerCare's local fundraising events like the Walk Runs for Hope in Connecticut and in New Jersey. And Bayer's contributions to CancerCare are more than just dollar-based. The creative teams at CancerCare and Bayer are collaborating on a new initiative that stresses the importance of simply talking about a cancer diagnosis and provides resources to make it easier and more comfortable for families to have those conversations. You'll hear much more about that important campaign in just a few minutes, and I'm so happy they're doing this because clearly there's such a need and such a limited lack of resources for families who went through what ours did 16 years ago. But for now, let's learn more about CancerCare's impact from the people behind the products, the dedicated team of innovators at Bayer Healthcare.